Hello and welcome to 18 WJTS in.form. I hope you plan on voting, or you have already voted, or are planning on voting in the next few days. The election is coming up November 3rd, and on WJTS we're meeting the candidates. And today we're going to meet His Honor, Terry Seitz, the mayor of Jasper, who is running for re-election.
Thank you, Bill, and good day to you. And I still kind of smile with that His Honor introduction, and I respect that. It is a wonderful privilege to receive that, but it's like, me? So here I am.
Looking around the room going, who's he talking about? Well, Terry, first of all, let's talk about, I know it's pretty obvious who you are, but who is Terry Seitz?
Terry Seitz is a man who literally loves the city that he resides in, and ultimately decided that he loved it so much that he would kind of put his neck on the line and run for office, something that I have never thought about doing before. The timing was critical. Certainly the departure of a 20-year mayor, the retirement made it a wide open race, and I felt I had the ability to do the job well. Now, after 4 years, I made the right decision. I'm confident that not only have I done the job well, but those that have surrounded us and made the decisions on behalf of Jasper the last 4 years have done the job extraordinarily well.
Now, you have a great family.
I do, and I have a family that has grown exponentially, and I kind of laugh. I've grown up with a wife and 2 daughters. Subsequently, with Ann's passing, I was able to find love again and married Dina, who had 2 daughters. Dina's late husband has a family, and they've adopted me as well as not their father. It's not a replacement. We've gone to graduation ceremonies and know them. We don't all know each other. Dina and I are the connecting point. But I'm blessed with mothers. Dina's mom now resides here with my mom. They're at Brookside. So we have, I've had a great family and a great family atmosphere. And ultimately, that's what I promised my daughters, that we will keep a family environment. And then I have 15,500 other family members.
Okay. Well, and that may explain why you're running for re-election.
Different decision process, Bill. When I was considering this initially, it was kind of the encouragement of others. And from a guy named Denny Spinner, who was going to run for mayor of Huntingburg, who kind of encouraged me. From State Senator Mark Messmer, who encourages everybody to run for public office if they can, of any party. And I do the same thing. I wish that sometimes the candidates that are running for office just speak, no matter if they're a Republican or Democrat. Some have engaged me beforehand, and maybe I've got to earn being that venerable public servant before I get that. I would welcome to share what we've gone through. It is an incredible experience. And the decision to run for re-election was different than the first one, primarily because I knew that we were going to be, when you're running for a candidate and it's a wide open race, no one has a record. We've established a record with that certainly is public, and people can throw rocks at it or stones at it. But ultimately, I think people have a hard time making things stick. When you've had $100 million minimum investment in your city announced publicly or underway, that's pretty good in 4 years' time. I don't know if we've had another city of our size in Indiana that has had that happen. And that's because, Bill, we took a partnership role. So I'm going to carry that partnership role forth if we are reelected.
Well, and I'm sure that some of the things that you've done and some things that are happening now and some things that will be happening in the future are issues or concerns with citizens. And how do you balance that and plan to project and what may be coming? Well,
they're intricately tied. We will, one, build upon what we've already established, things that are in process, publicly announced. And there's some things that really may not be announced that we know are in the works that are not within our means to, we don't control them, but ultimately we know I think there's still some bit of good news coming out that may come out this year, and it's not me as a candidate who's withholding that. It's at the request of private citizens and some state boards that ultimately will help with these decisions, and I hope that happens. We're always responsible to the budget. We have a balanced budget. From day one, I eliminated cars for take-home cars for civil city employees at the city. We have civil city and we have utilities, ratepayers and taxpayers, and we stopped that. Right now we have pool cars, and we could use a couple of them, and as needed, I drive the car as I need be. If I'm going to Huntingburg or Ferdinand, I rarely will take the Mayormobile. That's what I call it. But I will use that if I'm going out of town some days. But ultimately, it saved us thousands of dollars of fuel. Jasper taxpayers, because of state property tax caps, kept $1.2 million that we could have had in the City of Jasper budget. We have made do in the last 4 years with $1.2 million less, and we still balance the budget. However, we've also had to make some very serious considerations. This year, in our budget hearing in July, I proposed a 5% across the board operating cut for all civil city departments. Councilman Prechtel took that as a motion because ultimately the council makes the decision, and that was decided to do that. That's $275,000 roughly that we cut from our budget at the request of the mayor. I had to explain that to our department leaders the next day, and they already came in very lean. I want to compliment them because within 48 hours they had removed budget items amounting to those amounts, and we're 5% less budget on the civil city operating side in 2016 than what we are in 2015. I'd rather not go through that again, so we've got to operate leaner and meaner and get better at doing that, and that's going to be an ongoing thing. It's not going to be instant, but that's because property taxes are state capped. They're in the Constitution bill, and it's not going to change. On the other hand, contributing to us is the Economic Development Income Tax Fund, which can be used for a broad array of services, but ultimately we invest a third of that money in streets and sidewalks. I don't want that to change, and I expect that it will not. But we've projected over the next 5 years that we can keep a strong reserve. At the end of this year, we'll have $4.7 million in reserve, but to leverage that money and to leverage the commitments that we already made from that over the next 5 years, and we still have millions of dollars we can invest in some of the projects that have been identified. And if we so desire, Bill, if the council decides they want to bond, just like we did the sports complex, we did an edit bond. We will still have money to do that. It's rather amazing. So when I hear this stuff about budget, yeah, darn, I'm really watching that. But also, it's crucial that we grow our edit. If we invest edit funds back into things that make this bring jobs to the market, fulfill those jobs, like in the housing we have at JOFCO that's proposed, or in any of the loft situations that would be built, then we'll have more people filling those jobs, and we'll have more people paying edit. It's a nice circle. Third thing, best practices. I have made a commitment that we will look at some things that we do. Property that we have, property that I think we need to get rid of as a city, that really will help us and get it back into not only private sector, but private sector paying taxes rather than the city owning it and getting nothing. Mm-hmm. And I think the other thing is that we'll look at how we buy things. Maybe we'll take a few $1,000s here and there. Mayor Spinner and I, if both elected, will be doing that jointly as Huntingburg. Hopefully Ferdinand and the county and even Birdseye and Holland can help us. Maybe it's simple as copy paper, but we have to be able to procure things better.
Now, this year you've got two opponents. There's some, and the forums were really awesome for Huntingburg and Jasper. It's a great time for people to learn about candidates. What's the difference between you and your opponents?
Based on what one might do versus what one has already done. And I think that's because of the experience that I have. These have been good experiences. The city of Jasper is in a point where, as we may have serious discussions, we're having serious discussions about something that is maybe a Jasper cabinet project, which is a $30 million investment. And while you can agree, disagree, or have thoughts about that, but it's not about a contentious issue, it's about positive things. And we have created a very positive frame of mind and attitude among the city of Jasper. I think if you're not carrying that attitude, then likely look at yourself, because we have heard from others that we are one of Indiana's safest cities, one of Indiana's best places to live, one of the best places in Indiana to start a business. Those are not somebody's opinion. They're a researched item with facts and figures based on studies that have been done. And we like that. So we like where we're at, love what we have accomplished. We have so much that is still in the works that will continue to come out. It's just a good time to be mayor of Jasper.
What's the most fun that you've I guess over the past 4 years? What's the most fun?
I like the public engagements. I love ribbon cuttings. I made a promise to Nancy Eckerly at our chamber that if I was elected mayor, I would attend every ribbon cutting that I possibly could. And we did 6 one morning in downtown Jasper. Wow. And compliments to your sister of opening a store on this courthouse square. We love that as well. Margie, we wish you well. Occasions it's the store. Didn't mean to do that, Bill, but I'm just so happy to have them there. I love our downtown merchants. Love merchants of any kind. We have a groundbreaking occurring this week of another place that's taking a property that had struggled somewhat. Those things to me are critical. Without them, And without those investments, we die on the vine. So ultimately, that's what I like to do. And I'm really treated very well when I get invited to say things that most people wouldn't even understand. A walk, or kicking off the March of Dimes walk, or coming to be a part of the Deaf Connection Center's Deaf Celebration Picnic, and engaging people of all walks of life. Being part of an Eagle Scout ceremony, man, it just brings tears to my eyes. That's an investment back in our communities by these young men.
What is it that you think you bring to the table?
I bring the qualities of communication. I bring a marketing concept to Jasper that we've utilized very well. I learned some things, Bill, in my days in marketing and communications, and ultimately that is being able to deliver a message, and Jasper has a great message to sell. I brought in executive level leadership of my experience in not only my own company but organizations, and then the ability to understand people. My background prior to this immediately was a consultancy in leadership and human performance. There is no better environment in which to exercise those two things than being mayor of Jasper.
Well, now we're just going to, it's kind of scary to let somebody just say what they'd like, but this is your opportunity to look to the viewers and say, vote for me.
Vote for me.
Yeah, you can say more than that.
Right. Early voting is underway now. I think it goes through Saturday, roughly lunchtime, maybe again Monday, but it's at the courthouse. But the election day is Tuesday, November 3rd. I ask you to reflect as a voter as a citizen of Jasper, how far we've come in 4 years. From a very solid, good community to being able to deliver to Jasper and making Jasper a partner in significant investments. We have had almost $50 million of investments by our industry, leading to hundreds of new jobs. We have had, through partnership with the city of Jasper, because we adopted what our comprehensive plan of 2010 told us to. That plan, put together by citizens, adopted by our council before I came into office, said, do a downtown riverfront master plan, adopt abatements, adopt tax increment finance districts, or TIF. And we've done all of those. We were guided by that plan. Ultimately, we've made great investments. Our original downtown riverfront master plan cost $40,000. Just last week, because of that plan, directly, we had announced $50 million of investments coming from the private sector. We'll partner with them, and there will be some tax dollars used, or tax dollars going into a TIF to be used in projects. But ultimately, how else do you leverage the redevelopment of old structures? And that's what we had to do. We had hundreds of thousands of square feet of them. And I think we have done, economic development-wise, an extraordinary degree of work that's brought Jasper into the 21st century. And speaking of which, we have a $7 million privately funded build-out of fiber optics. That will make Jasper one of the most connected communities in America at no cost to you. No cost to the taxpayer. We've had the parklands that's going to be opening, that's open, and will get only better as our park department plays that out. We've had a dog park that's opened up. We have put call boxes along the Riverwalk, and literally we have thoroughly had an opportunity of making an impact in Jasper, and we're just beginning. We know the next 4 years even more will occur, and you will have that great pleasure of saying, I'm from Jasper and I'm very proud of it.
Well, Terry, it is a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you very much, Bill. Appreciate the time and inform.
Terry Seitz is running for Jasper City Mayor. Make sure that you go out and vote. Thank you, Terry, for being with us. Thank you for watching WJTS Inform. We're local people watching local people.